So for this video, we're going to talk about expanding logs. So when you think about the word expanding, it means to get bigger. Okay, so what this process is they're going to give you a single log that has multiple things in it, and they are going to want you to pull it apart and expand it and make it to where you have logs of individual items. So we don't want to have multiple letters and stuff. We don't want to have things partner paired, anything like that as we're processing through. So we're going to take a look at a couple of examples here of how to do this. Now, the general order that we follow, now this is not in every single, but this is kind of the basic order that we start to follow when we do this. The first thing we look for is quotients. Is there any fractions that I can separate back over to subtraction? Then I'm going to look for products. Do I have anything where I have multiple items multiplied together that I can separate into addition? And then the last thing is we're going to pull our powers down out in front. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this first one. And so they want us to expand this as much as possible. So we've got log base b of x to the fourth cube root of y. So I'm going to pull this up on our whiteboard. Okay, so now, first things first, before I do anything else, I leave this cube root of y. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get that pulled as a 1/3 power. There is an expectation that any roots that you see will be pushed as powers so that you can actually do a full expansion. Now then, so first thing is, do I have any fractions? Do I have letters or numbers stacked on top of one another that I can separate to subtraction? The answer is no, I don't have any of those. The next thing that we're looking at is products. Do I have things being multiplied together? Yes, I have an x piece and a y piece. So I'm going to separate those, expand those to log base b of x to the fourth plus log base b y to the 1/3. So I've got those separated now. I don't have any other multiplication, so I can leave that right there. Now, I do have a couple of powers, and that's the last thing we handle, and those powers are going to come down out in front. So I've got 4 log base b x plus 1/3 log base b y, and that is expanded, okay? And that is as far as that expansion will go. Okay. So that is now considered expanded as much as possible, okay? So now we're going to take a look at another one. So I've got log base 5 square root of x over 25y cubed. Okay. So again, first thing I'm going to do, that square root has got to go. That is going to be x to the 1/2 over 25y cubed. Okay. Now, first thing I look for, fractions. Yep, I've got a fraction in this one. So we're going to separate this to log base 5x to the 1/2 minus log base 5 25 cubed. Okay. So now I've handled the fraction. I don't have any other fraction things inside of logs. Next thing I'm going to look for is product. So I'm looking for multiplication stuff. Okay, I've got a multiplication. Now, I do need to be careful though because I have this subtraction. So the way that we handle this is I'm going to do a large set of parentheses, and then I'm going to show where I do my addition from a product. Okay, so I'm still showing that I'm subtracting everything that came after this, but I am still getting my expansion there. That multiplication will go to addition. Now, at this point, I'm going to pull my powers down in front. So I'm going to have 1/2 log base 5x minus parentheses log base 5 25 plus 3 log base 5 y. Okay. Now, this is expanded at this point, but there are a couple of other things that can be done, other notations that can be done. One option is the same way that we see in traditional algebra. This subtract could be pushed all the way through, okay? So, kind of an or statement here. 1/2 log base 5x minus log base 5, 25, minus 3 log base 5 y. Okay, so they could go ahead and distribute that subtract through that set of parentheses, and we end up with something like this. Now, the other thing is log base 5 of 25. This feels like something that we might could do with, because remember that what you're taking the log of is generally a power from, or something that can be found using a power of this. If we were to pull this off to the side and do kind of an off to the side work with it. So if I did something like log base 5 of 25 equals b, pull that down out of that glare. Okay, and I did a little loop-de-loop with it. I have 5 to the b equals 25. Well, that means b is 2. So one option is that they could have you go ahead and put that that is 2 for that log base 5 of 25. And have something that looks like that, okay? Again, all three of these are the same answer. They're just slightly modified depending upon where they end the simplification, okay? So here was I did all the rules. We just still had it all clumped and lumped. Here they distributed the negative, and here they did a little bit with this log 5 of 25.